Welcome back, everyone, to the Hearthstone Grandmasters for the Americas region. Our featured match for day number 2 is Mr. Dog versus Mr. Saiyan, two of the strongest species to have ever existed. Dogs, of course, being a very important aspect of just society. And Saiyans, of course, being an incredible fighting warrior race from the planet Vegeta.
I don't know anything about Dragon Ball Z.
TJ, I love casting with you in every respect, but the one thing that I wish you would do is just watch
anime.
Some goddamn anime, please.
I loved Digimon.
I was really glad you didn't say
the
SpongeBob.
one true anime.
Well, I thought you were going to say, like, I loved, you know, SpongeBob SquarePants.
I do love SpongeBob SquarePants.
I mean, who doesn't?
There's some, but they're few and far between.
Yes. All right. Well, I will introduce you and get you up to date with the proper culture of today's media society. But that's neither here nor there. Let's go ahead and talk about our match that we have, Saiyan versus Dog. It's going to be a good matchup because I think Dog is looking to cement his second place spot right now, and Saiyan's looking to move up in the standings. It's going to be a very tightly contested one, back and forth with some mage action. But before we go too much further, let's go ahead and meet the players and hear what they had to say about each other.
My name is David Dog Cairo. I play for Team Liquid currently, and hopefully forever. If I had to be a breed of dog, I'd probably be a golden retriever because they just look so blissful and ignorant and happy all the time. So that's what I strive to be.
My name is David Chan. In the game, I go by Just Saiyan. I think I would be more likely to respond to Saiyan than to Dave or David at this point. It's kind of surreal. I just live on the internet now.
I am pretty creative in my deck building. Problem is, I haven't ever played Specialist. I can't be creative if I don't really know what to do. So I'm sure, like, once after a few weeks progress, maybe I'll start bringing something more wonky, or maybe I'll be able to use the creativity a little bit more. But right now, I'm not really sure if it'll help me too much.
So for me, the X factor has to be, I think, just thinking about all of the edge cases. Before, I was always looking into Q order. I was looking into what potentially happens when he has coin and I don't, and like the different ways that impacts matchups. So I'm good at finding an edge where other players aren't exactly looking, and then trying to drive as much as I can into that so that I have an even bigger edge at the end of the day.
So what do I think about the players in my division? Most of them I don't really know, but I know Zalay, I know Saiyan, and I know they're good players, but don't really know what to expect from the group. Should be fun.
Out of everyone, I'm probably the most afraid of Dog. Probably because, you know, I watch him a lot as a streamer, and I feel like he has just a lot of talent, and if he's going to put his mind to Grandmasters, he has a good chance of competing for some top spots.
Is there anyone that is my enemy in this division? Competitively, not really. No one's on my level, so.
So the most important thing to me, just proving myself this year and getting a chance to make it to the top 8 and compete against Hunter Ace once again, because I'm just dying to get back in there, you know?
So I think being successful competitively is important for growing my stream. Initially it was, but now it's not like paramount, it would help. I personally just want to compete because it's fun. My stream is for like high legend players or for like legend players, so if I wasn't competing, then they wouldn't think I'm very good. At least this way they know I'm not very good.
Two of America's best going at it as Saiyan takes on Dog in a Rogue versus the Mage. Taking a very quick look at their deck list, TJ. What do you see?
Well, Dog is playing the prettier, what has become standard, Burgle Rogue. He does have a copy of Preparation and the Eviscerates. We've seen some Burgle Rogues move away from kind of spells in general and just have like Novice Engineers in there, just a lot of early minions, a lot of more value generation. This is the list that I like better, and I think it's the list that has worked better across the Grandmasters so far. Also, one of the things to notice about Dog's Burgle Rogue is that it's performed exceptionally well against Mage. Now, Saiyan has a reasonable deck against Rogue. It does have Frostbolt, which is a piece of hard removal that this Cyclone Mage deck doesn't usually include in the deck, so it gives it an option to deal with, you know, a lot of the plethora of 3 health minions that dog's going to try and play early on for tempo. But other than that, it's just pretty standard across the board. Double Sea Giant, double Mountain Giant in the top end. But overall, just a pretty normal Cyclone Mage for Saiyan.
Yep. I think we'll see if this Mage deck can fare against the Rogue deck better this time around. Last time, Saiyan ended up switching to his Tertiary deck. Did not really pan out as he took a very quick loss over in day number 2. Day number 1, excuse me, to Naokidan. But at the same time, Dog does have the more aggressive version. Naokidan was playing the Water Rogue with Sea Giants. Sea Giants are more vulnerable to things like freeze effects.
Mm-hmm.
Not very strong against the Leroy Jenkins from the hand. But with this opening hand here from Saiyan, it looks like it's got something going.
Yeah, both players. Dog starts off with a couple of the Burgle cards. Definitely great to just get minions on board to start fighting. And also Hench Clan Burglar allowing for so many possibilities, and Blink Fox can always pick up like extra burn or removal or freeze itself. It just feels like this is such an uphill battle for the Mage. They don't have time to play it slow and just play Mountain Giants and Conjurer's Calling most of the time. And they have to kind of try and fight for the board early or else they get snowballed out of the game. And that's kind of what we've seen from this matchup so far in Grandmasters. And the times that we have seen Mage win is the times where they are able to get 3, 4, 5 drops on board early and fight with Conjurer's Calling in not the most standard of ways. And even just this Blink Fox right now presents a real threat to Saiyan, because outside the Frostbolt, the deck just doesn't have much hard removal. And Saiyan could go for something weird here, like double Ray of Frost into Coin Ping, but just needs to kind of magic trick and look for a big explosive turn to try and swing things in his favor.
Yeah, I mean, you can see that he was valuing the Conjurer's Calling, obviously, with one of the most important cards, if not the most important card in the deck. But he was even keeping the Arcane Intellect when he threw away the other stuff because he wanted to increase the possibility of his plays as the game progresses. And the Rogue does give you a little bit of time.
A little bit of time, but once they hit that turn 3, 4, 5, it starts to ramp up very quickly because they're playing something big and threatening every turn. Even Spear of the Shark, even though it's oftentimes a pretty small turn from the Rogue, the turn that follows is just incredibly powerful.
Well, Saiyan, speaking of powerful, has the Mountain Giant coin Conjurer's Calling next turn. You would have to burn a card to do so, but the payoff is really high. If I'm Dog and I know my opponent's on the coin, I have to be mindful of this. He sets up the Shark here. It'll be in preparation for those Giants.
Yeah, there is merit to setting up something bigger. If you expect Mountain Giant coin Conjurer's Calling, then maybe even going with like Hench Clan Burglar to make sure that you have 8 attack worth of minions on board. Has merit as well. And he also knows that if that's a possibility, there's no chance of a ping. So there's actually no real reason to trade, just because of the fact that where's the Sandbinder going to go if Mountain Giant comes down with Conjurer's Calling? There's nothing great for it to attack into.
Right, and what's the alternative? If your opponent doesn't have Mountain Giant, then they might have some Sorcerer's Apprentice plays. I don't think the attack truly matters too much there, because if they have Sorcerer's Apprentice, they're still not going to likely to ping. But, importantly, what can Dog really do against this Mountain Giant? One Graveheart just come out, which is important for Saiyan to protect his life total, because I think one alternative for Dog was to just go all in and race, but I don't think that's necessarily the case here. Backstab?
Oh, Backstab, Evil Miscreant, gonna pick up 4 lackeys.
Yes.
Has mana to play 3 of them, plus Shadow Step 1. So 1 Kobold Lackey deals with this Mountain Giant for 1 mana. The second Kobold Lackey just allows him to attack in and trade over. This is a very easy full board clear for Dog.
Yeah, seems like it. Full board clear with the opportunity to get even more value off of the Shark. It's moments like this where it just makes me hard to believe that Shark is just not good, right? A lot of people who are using those data reports and whatnot, they're just saying that Shark isn't important. Like it's actually a bad card to put in your deck. But it's difficult to say that when you see results like this. Granted, it is on the higher end of the variance scale. Like you don't always get this opportunity. But I see it happen so often that it makes it feel like, how can you not? And now Saiyan, see how uncomfortable this is. Not only is his board cleared, he still can't kill the shark right now. Or if he does kill the shark, it costs a little bit too much.
Yeah.
Unless he plays a Sorcerer's Apprentice in this position. Okay. So, if Saiyan plays 2 Sorcerer's Apprentice, the Sea Giant costs 2. Still not enough to play the Frost Giant. He has to Magic Trick and get Mirror Image, I think. Another Frost Nova, so that gives him the flexibility of freezing over 2 turns.
Someday I'll be just like you.
It's like he's just going to prioritize going for the card draw here. If he hits the Mana Cyclone, he'll be in good spot.
Another Arcane Intellect. So he's got a lot of time to buy. If he just draws more cards or freezes here, next turn it's likely that Sea Giant's going to be able to come down for cheap. He can follow that up with another Frost Nova.
But he might have to kill the shark too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Killing the shark is important. Sorry, what were you saying, TJ?
Well, there's a possibility that Sea Giant can come down next turn with a freeze effect, and potentially even a Conjurer's Calling if Dog didn't deal with one of these Sorcerer's Apprentice or developed a board behind it. So that could be the swing potential. You get a couple 10-drops on the board, you freeze Dog's board, and then you initiate that race that you talked about was potential without the Grave 4 from the previous turn. But Dog just picking up gas.
Preparation. It's generally a very useful card here. But Saiyan sticking one of these Sorcerer's Apprentice on board, fairly impactful. Look at Dog, he has Wagglepick and Leroy, both are big damage dealers. In fact, Wagglepick is more useful right now, given that his board is full and he might not get the opportunity to play Leroy, plus Shadow Step has been used. So Wagglepick is more damage in terms of just the power of one card in one turn, or I guess 2 turns with Wagglepick.
Huh.
It's counting damage. Wagglepick is 8, Life Drinker's 3. It's only 11. Saiyan has opportunity for some big plays, though. He's got Sea Giant, Conjurer's Calling.
If he picks up Mirror Image here, if he picked up Mirror Image, he could have played Mirror Image for 0 mana, Sea Giant for free, Frost Nova, double Conjurer's Calling.
See what happens after Conjurer's Calling number 1. Oh my gosh! Those are some of the biggest stats available.
Yeah.
And now if he freezes, there's nothing really that Dog can do in terms of the board state because he can't kill his own minions. He's stuck with Walk the Plank.
And Saiyan going to wisely hold on to the Shooting Star here, at least I assume, just to keep the board full to reduce Dog's potential for dealing with this big of stuff.
Yeah.
Walk the Plank, though, will shut down some. Kills the lower power on board because I think that he wants to play around the possibility of a Ziliax Magnetize.
Yes, Ziliax would be just beyond devastating.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to race any longer.
Oh boy. Are you ready for a miracle opportunity here?
There is. He's still got Mana Cyclones left in the deck also.
Interesting to start off with the Arcanes. I guess it's because he doesn't have a guarantee of what he needs to do here. There's no like mulch munchers or anything to help bail him out. Saiyan's just trying to find one way to get himself out. He's got 15, 16, 17, 18 with the banana buffoon. He can still get it. The banana can draw a Mana Cyclone right here.
Behold the tools
A 0 mana Sea Giant as well.
Behold the
A 0 mana
tools of
Mirror Image, but he has no more board space.
Behold the tools of creation.
It's still good though, because he gets the Shooting Stars now as well.
Wait, no, he can trade in and then do it? Okay. All right. I was like, he could still trade in technically.
I mean, either way he navigates this, if Dog doesn't find a way to deal with Deathwing, then he sets up a 2-turn lethal. He sets up a 2-turn lethal even if he trades 12 damage into 1-4. But I feel like my heart would hurt if he made that trade.
Wow. Now, Dog does have the Life Drinker, so if he Vendettas, if he gets Eviscerate, 4, 7, 11.
Is Sap?
Sap helps him get past a taunt. So he's got 4 on the board, plus that it's 8, plus Life Drinker twice. That would be lethal. If he's able to bounce back the Life Drinker, guaranteed lethal.
1 in 5.
Because he could not eviscerate, he could Vendetta and sap the 0-2, go oh no, sorry, I apologize, I miscounted. That Ethereal Lackey that he just played can't attack. So he'd be off. Because that's 7 from the, and then 6 from the Life Drinker. It's only 13 damage.
Can he stop lethal with Sap plus Vendetta? There's 16 damage showing. On the other side. I'm
not seeing it. And it looks like Dog ran out of time. Like, he picked up the lackeys, but he needs to play it faster so that he can get a spell. Got an Ethereal Lackey.
It's still going. Picked up another Myra's.
Yes,
set on board.
To do it. Saiyan gets the win against Dog. And Dog had all the options in the world, but just fell too far behind on the board.
Yeah.
That big swing turn, Saiyan was able to just barely outlast Dog's damage. And remember, Dog had a lot of power, but no board space developed. That Frost Nova is something you always have to consider. And, you know, damage in the hand is great, but if you have no board space for, like, the Leroy, I mean, he had the Leroy or Waggle pick, but it's just one of those things to consider. It's like, that is one of the limiting factors of Rogue and why some of them even play Sea Giants, because they're like, well, you know, I just have all these cheap lackeys on the board, might as well just get more power there.
Yeah. There was probably a way out there for Dog in those last turns, but it's so hard to evaluate. First, we have to calculate, do I even have lethal damage with Waggle plus Life Drinker?
Right.
Then you have to rule that out, and then you're like, well, now what? Can I survive enough damage? Do I have to look in my deck for lethal opportunity, or do I have what I need in my hand to potentially go for enough of a clear to not die? And Dog is, you know, maybe not so much like recently, but he is one of the most experienced Rogue players, probably of all time.
Right. I played a lot of Rogue.
At every new set, he's one of the first players to experiment with Rogue. A lot of Rogue decks start their theory crafting based off of Rogue's ideas, and I think one of the big one was Quest Rogues. Even though the first iteration of Dog's Quest Rogue, back when the Quest was released in Journey to Un'Goro, ended up not being anywhere close to what the final lists were months down the line.
Yeah.
It still was kind of a building block for a lot of players since, you know, he's public facing, he plays it on stream, to kind of improve on that. And, you know, if he can't figure out that turn, then I don't think anybody can.
I mean, I don't know if I necessarily agree with that, TJ. I think there's definitely a few Rogue experts out there that can figure out what's at least the priority list to go through.
No, there is nobody in the world besides Dog that can figure out that play.
Okay.
Don't even. No, there's a lot.
I mean, I understand what you're trying to say, which is you're trying to emphasize how difficult that turn was.
Using hyperbole?
Yes, using some pretty high hyperbole. You're saying there's nobody on the planet that can figure out the right turn. But
that's right.
Fundamentally, I think if you're going to not die on board, just trade the 1/1s like the Sorcerer's Apprentice, and then swing with the Waggle pick, improve your plays. He could have manipulated the Waggle pick outcomes to almost guarantee that he would have had a Ethereal Peddler not Ethereal Peddler, I keep saying that, Ethereal Lackey to help manipulate his chances of getting other stuff. It's hard to say. I mean, there's a lot of possibilities, but the most important thing is Dog definitely stumbled at the end of that game a little bit more than we're used to expecting from him.
Jay Alexander would have figured that play out.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of really good Rogue players out there. That
there's none. Nobody in the world is better at Rogue than Jay Alexander. Not even Dog.
I'm sure Jay Alexander believes that.
He may.
Jay Alexander's a player that I see talking a lot of trash about Spirit of the Shark, saying it's just not a good card in Rogue. In fact, he favors the Hook Tusk package. He likes to play Captain Greenskin and Ticket Scalper and a few other other cards that can get summoned out when Hook Tusk gets played. And I don't blame him. I mean, Hook Tusk is really powerful, but I mean, I like my Sharks.
Imagine playing both.
I mean, that's also a possibility.
Charge, shield, or spot.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
So this is a card that makes your spells cost 1 more but gives you +2 spell damage. It's called Kirin Tor Tricaster.
yeah.
Oh, sorry, it gives you +3 spell damage. So that backstab is a 1 mana, deal 5 damage to a minion on the board. In other words, if Saiyan plays this this Luna, it gets answered very easily. And I would absolutely play backstab if it was 1 mana, deal 5.
Yeah. The downside is not that big, but with a tempo deck, 1 mana can mean a lot. I'm curious if there's a deck that you can put this card in.
Well, it's
Unexpected results.
What to
It could
do?
be.
What to
I
do?
believe that it is a mage card.
It is. That's what I'm saying.
So, oh, you're saying okay.
Like unexpected results.
Yeah, exactly.
It would cost
some
4,
kind of tempo
so it would
mage.
be unbuffed.
Time runs out on me.
That's an 8 mana play 5 2-drops in a 3/3.
This is gross. Dog can answer this with backstab and then evil miscreant. That hurts. But you know, Saiyan knew that this was a possibility. Can't always play around that your optimal hand from your opponent. Just have to get on board. And he also still has his reload with Magic Trick and Mana Cyclones.
Yeah, and at the same time, Dog, while he's dealing with these boards, he's not actually putting on pressure, so he's giving him a lot of time.
Another like Tome of Intellect to play right before his Mana Cyclone. So Saiyan would have played 3 spells. He'd fill up his hand to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 9 cards. Mountain Giant would cost 3 next turn. He could Mountain Giant Conjurer's Calling on 6. That is a possibility if he ends up playing it. If he just plays a Ray of Frost, he could still go for that. Okay. So Saiyan's on that line. I think the freeze here is to protect his Mana Cyclone just a little bit longer.
Yeah. Also to actually just fill up his hand for the 9 cost, because Ray of Frost, you
Oh, you're
cast
right.
a spell, but you don't actually expend a card if it's a twin spell version. So this is what allows the 3 mana Mountain Giant plus Conjurer's Calling.
Well, he could have played Comb of Intellect. It's just that he would have gotten
Yeah,
a random
yeah.
spell instead, and
Yeah.
I think his Frostbolt is just a better guarantee.
Yeah.
Like the Frostbolt to Ray of Frost is just a strict upgrade in almost every scenario except for the mana cost. Is that another Tricaster?
What the heck?
It is. The Kirin Tor out to sabotage its own.
And he got a zap from the Hedge Claim
It's a
Burglar.
1 mana deal 5 damage.
What? Another one. It does overload, but who cares?
Saiyan's just, he's like, what? How is this even happening?
And Saiyan also knows that Vendetta is 1 mana deal 7. He can't even go for the Mountain Giant plus Conjurer's Calling play because he's afraid of the Tricaster.
I gotta ask this, TJ. Does Betrayal work with spell damage?
I know the answer to that question. It's just buried deep down in my subconscious because it hasn't come up in years.
Yeah, I don't remember.
I want to say no, because it's dealing the minion damage, and the minion isn't yours.
Force an enemy minion to deal damage to
To deal
next
its damage
Yep.
to the minion next to it.
It probably shouldn't work based off that text.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting because if you got 2 Grave Horrors and you betrayed it, would it actually work that way based off spell damage?
Yeah, I'm not sure, but I'm gonna look it up.
I wonder.
All right. In the meantime, Dog figuring out a best way to get back onto the board. He does have the High Spear and Togwoggle, but no Lackey. Oh my
Yeah,
goodness.
spell damage does not Betrayal for the exact reason that I say it, because it's not the person that's casting the spell that the damage is getting the effect from. It's the minion that's effectively dealing the damage.
We've seen this before from. Thank you for clarifying. We've seen this before with Rogue, just investing the Leroy damage early, and when you don't have a lot of good proactive plays, it's just front-loading that damage, but you are revealing to your opponent a significant portion of your hand. One, you're saying that you don't have very good proactive plays. You don't have any shark combinations. And then two, you know your opponent has a Leroy in the hand, so Saiyan can play a little bit more defensively with that information. Magic Dart Frog, a card that I have slept on a lot, and the more I play with it, the more I realize how sick it actually is.
Oh, so that means Saiyan switched over to his tertiary deck.
Yes, playing the Vex Crow Magic Dart Frog. He doesn't have the Saiyan Binder, he doesn't have one copy of Frost Nova, and doesn't have his Antonitis. Dog gonna try to take down this Luna, but he does. This is his lackey that he could use to activate with Heist and Togwaggle as well.
Yeah, he could zap the Luna to kill it off too. So he could still play Heist and Togwaggle, zap the Luna, kill it off, and have the treasure in hand.
Yep.
Wondrous Wand. This hand spells damage. It doesn't spell value.
It's the turn. It's the turn. Dog is out of time. And he has to figure out how he's going to deal with these waves of giants. The more grave horrors, the better. Oh my gosh, all grave horrors.
And the perfect snipe.
I mean, that's a big deal to get the grave horrors because it stops betrayal from being effective just by itself.
Yeah.
And Dog has betrayal, SI. Okay, he's just gonna Wondrous Wand. Backstab is not that great. Blink Fox is Haggle Pick is also
And this gives up Dog's opportunity to play Betrayal plus SI7 Agent because he only has 4 mana available now.
Right.
I'm trying to look for like a freeze, maybe buy some time.
Frost Nova would just be the nuts.
Yeah, but unfortunately, Fireball not really going to help in this situation.
Yeah, the backstab is nice to make sure the Betrayal will end up killing off one minion.
Backstab, Betrayal, Eviscerate, Waggle Pick.
Looks like you're still dead.
Let's see, you take 7, so you go down to 16, 8, 9, 10, 11 on board. Not dead.
At least not on board.
Yeah, not on board. But he doesn't clear off all of the 8-mana minions, which means Saiyan gets to go in with Conjurer's Calling again and push a ton of damage.
He also has a chance for lethal here if Magic Trick picks up a single point of face damage because he's got 11 on the board, 12 with the hero power, 15 with the Frostbolt.
Let's see it. Cinderstorm, Arcane Missiles, Frostbolt. How about another Magic Trick?
I mean, it's fair. It's fine because you can get through the Blink Fox. Another Magic Trick?
He'll get it eventually.
You sure about that?
No, I'm not. He can research project and pick up another Magic Trick. Or bananas. He only has 1 banana buffoon in his tertiary deck, though.
I actually like this Vaporize pick. It stops a Leroy from being able to finish you off. And you can also just set your opponent down to 1 health. I mean, Saiyan even has Conjurer's Calling #2 for extra insurance. Locking out every possibility, maximizing his chances. And looks like Dog is done. Khadgar summoning. It's way too powerful to stop. And Dog, Dog may have found lethal.
I'm out of cards.
He did. Game 2, tied series. Saiyan's going to wrap it up here. Did I say tied series?
I was confused for a
I'm
second
pretty
there.
sure Dog won game number 1.
He did not.
But I guess I am mistaken.
Yeah. No, 2-0 for Saiyan. Very impressive performance.
Yeah.
A matchup that we've seen go the Rogue's way many a time over the past couple weeks of Grandmasters. And Saiyan, honestly, you know, we haven't seen the crazy draws for Mage. We haven't seen like the double elemental evocation, Mountain Giant Conjurer's Calling on super early in the game. Saiyan did have Khadgar plus Conjurer's Calling, but his ability to kind of stifle the board pressure up until the point he was able to do that was nice. Especially like, you know, a lot of players are like, well, the first time he got the Tricaster, he punished me, but there's no way he punished me this time. But he said, you know what? I'm not going to even take the risk. I can buy myself one more turn. I can double Frostbolt and try and go for my big swing in the future turns now that I have Khadgar and I can kind of see that dog doesn't have much pressure.
Yeah, it's a tough matchup for sure on the Mage's end, but that's 2 wins in the Mage to start things off. PNC 2-0, justsaiyan 2-0. Let's go ahead and talk to Saiyan, who's on the line. Saiyan, can you hear us?
Hey, what's up, guys?
All right, so, you know, looks like you're slowly pulling yourself up on the standings. You know, it's not the start you want, Saiyan, but, you know, at the same time, just, you know, step by step there. Just talk to us a little bit about your mindset going into this week and the weeks moving forward.
You know, it was a bad start, but I'm not too stressed out about it. I mean, in the end, we're just playing, you know, 30 to 45 minutes every week, right? So it's not a lot. I just want to make sure that I'm well rested, that I'm focused, and I've had plenty of time to practice for the match beforehand. So I think people get too stressed out about whether or not it's a win or loss in the end, right? But I mean, in reality, it's a very small sample size, right? So you do the best that you can in preparation, play the best you can, and then, you know, whatever happens on game day happens in this case.
Yep, it's very true. Do you feel like you have been doing your best in all those categories and it just hasn't been panning out for you?
I had to make a few switch ups, definitely. I had to focus a little more on Hearthstone, especially with Vegas coming up. Like, shifting focus definitely helped a bit. Like, less trading, less, like, no auto chess. Hearthstone is now like 70-80% of the time, so I think it's a good shift.
Good, good. How do you find living with Muzzy so far in this first week in California?
We're piecing things together, you know. Like, right after this interview, I'm about to wheel this backdrop over to his room so he can come and play his next match. So we're making do, but we're not quite totally settled in yet. But it's working out.
All right, cool.
What happens if you guys ever have to play against each other?
Well, luckily we're in the different division.
Well, come playoff
maybe
time,
this
there's
is
cross-division play.
Oh, that's true too. I guess we would just have to order another one of these backdrops, I guess.
Good. I'm asking the important questions here, Saiyan.
Gotcha, cool. Saiyan, you know, we kind of talked a little bit about this with other players, but, you know, now that we're 4 weeks in, we're just a little bit over the halfway point. Is there any other observations that you haven't shared or any kind of insights, or just maybe your feelings on how Grandmasters currently is based off the first few weeks of play here?
I think, you know, it's very different from last year. Last year was basically a marathon, and I feel like Grandmasters feels more like a sprint. So there is definitely like skill sets that are different, right? Like for tour stops, I had to play 7 to 8 hours a day. So I was more or less worried about stamina throughout the day, more so than like complete focus on one game. And I think in contrast, like this year, it's 30 to 45 minutes and you better be playing your best during that time, right? I think a lot of the EU players like Seiko and Fino are very good at doing that. And maybe I faltered a little bit, but I'm trying to catch up and figure out how to navigate the sprint a little bit more.
So you're saying it's not even your final form. Is that what you're telling
Oh,
me?
no. His hair's about to turn blue, just like yours, Dan. Soon.
That's right. Get on my level, Saiyan, apparently. Well, you know, actually, there was a joke that we were saying that Saiyan dyed his hair prior to the World Championship to blonde, and if he was able to go and win the finals, he would dye his hair blue to just show the complete transformation. But, you know, step by step, level by level, we'll get there, Saiyan.
One at a time.
I still don't know how to say that in Japanese. I think it's like Hitotsu Setsu or something. All right, Saiyan, thanks for joining us. We're weebing out here on the desk. Have a good rest of the weekend, and I'll see you in Vegas.
All right, see you guys.
All right, so Saiyan able to pick up the results, and he is now jumped Gidan for 7th place in his division. One at a time, TJ.
One at a
time. So that's it, man. We're already 2 matches in. Did you expect Mage to come out of the gate like that?
No, I honestly didn't, especially against Rogue. PNC's lineup against Firebat, you can expect that to take a win. But honestly, this one just has felt so tough for the Mage. Just being able to pull up the win, though. Mage 2-0 in its gauntlet so far.
Yep.
So a couple tests left.
Yep. We have Muzzy versus Frozen coming up next. That Mage will go up against the Token Mech Druid. That Frozen is thrown as a curveball for this week, so don't go anywhere. More action from the Hearthstone Grandmasters continues right after this.